to the south of France and to the Var region, 250 metres above sea level, a medieval village of Le Castellet. In Old French, Le Castellet is a small castle, so it won't surprise you to know that it's known for, amongst other things, a beautifully preserved 11th century church. Of course, Le Castellet to motor racing fans means Circuit Paul Ricard.
We're here at the Circuit Paul Ricard for the 4th edition of the Hankook 24H Circuit Paul Ricard.
For quite some time, the FIA-approved 24-hour endurance series have held one of their rounds at Circuit Paul Ricard. This year, the sister series, the 24-hour Protocar series powered by Hankook, will be racing here in August. So what's so appealing about this track? The organisers, Creventic, want to come here twice this year.
Well, usually the weather is a little bit nicer than now, but we keep returning to the Circuit Paul Ricard because it is perfectly matched for GT machinery. You have high-speed straights, you have a lot of technical corners also involved, some chicanes. It's a beautiful track in quite scenic surrounding. We love returning here every year.
It's great to be here in the south of France, and it's very amazing to see we are here with a lot of cars.
It's a Saturday race start, Friday reserved for qualifying. Starting at the front of the grid isn't essential for an endurance race. Qualifying at least gives you the chance to do so.
Qualification was really exciting. We started on the beginning where we were on P2, and we came back in and we went for another run. And we just got P1 and the team was very happy and it was a great lap.
Qualifying was divided into two parts. That means fewer cars on the track at the same time.
Qualification is good for us because only 10 cars in the class for the qualification. It's better for us to make a clear round with a track very smooth, and I hope all is okay.
After the 908 car set its time, the car was disqualified.
We have a little scrutineering issue. The car was a bit low, 1 millimeter too low. Mechanical mistake happens. It's better than in race, but I guess the penalty would have been little because the mistake was very little.
As a result, the Ultron Peugeot will start last on the grid. Overall pole clinched by the Czech Republic team of Scuderia Praha.
It was a really good lap, and we did the third pole in 3 races. So it's a good point to start for sure, but the race will be 24 hours now. It's also a bit of rain, so it starts the long race, we'll see.
Saturday and the grid getting ready for the start of the 24 hours. As ever, some teams had issues which had to be solved before the start.
Yes, we have different problems on the car, so we have to change the clutch before the start. So it takes a little bit time, and we were late, a little bit late on the starting grid, yeah.
It was the drink system. That's the first time we've tried it because we put that in last minute, and the drink system wasn't working. So we just had to redo some of the wiring because the pump was sucking, not blowing.
And to make the pun,
he needs to drink water. David, Mr. David Drinkwater, that's correct. The last driver. So he's the important one, yes.
in the run-up to the start, it wasn't clear if it would be a wet or dry start to the race.
Right, yeah, we have a half hour to figure it out. So we're going to wait until about the last minute and then drive out with what we think's the right call, and hopefully it's the right one.
But by the time the cars went to the grid, all the teams had chosen Hankook rain tyres. It's absolutely clear it would rain at or near the start of the race.
It's going to be interesting to see, because of the rain, who is going to switch to slicks in the right moment, and who is going to have the best tactics, the pit stop tactics, in order to win this race.
Wet weather doesn't only affect the choice of tyre, but also the setup of the car.
Well, with the weather today obviously changing, we've had to change the rear springs again and go for a softer option because we had gone harder yesterday, and with it being wet now, so that's why we changed. But now we'll see what it's like. But the idea is to finish.
And with weather apps in hand, now 100% a certainty that the race will start in the rain.
It's not the best condition to do a 24 hours race to start in a raining condition, but I think we have to finish the race, so we have to be very safe at the beginning.
Normally in the 24-hour series, the event gets underway after 2 warm-up laps behind the safety car with a rolling start. However, as the time for the green flag approached, the weather worsened. The race director decided there would be no warm-up laps. So the race started with the purple code 60 flag, drivers then not allowed to drive faster than 60 kilometers per hour. The heavy rain making it difficult to see ahead, but as the driving speeds were limited, it seemed no one had too much problem following the number 11 Ferrari, certainly not the number 31 Rofco Mercedes in second.
Yeah, you know, the conditions weren't the best, so I think it was a good decision for the organisers to run a couple of laps under code 60, and then I think they made the right call.
Anthony Beltoir started the race in the number 28 of the GP Extreme team, but after the first lap, the Renault RS01 was having issues and came straight back to the pits. After 2 laps under code 60, the information screens told the teams that drivers could increase their pace to 100 kilometers an hour to warm up the tyres. It seems not all of the teams told their drivers what was happening. Gaps appeared in the field, and that gave an advantage to the pole sitter.
The start was pretty good with the code 60, and was rainy and was really difficult situation for our car.
As soon as the green flag fell, the Scuderia Praha Ferrari had the Rofco Racing Mercedes on its tail.
So we went green, and we had a really good first stint. The car was mega. You know, the Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 car. Rofco Racing was just fantastic to drive. We're able to pull out quite a good lead. I'm from England, so I'm used to the wet weather. So, you know, I was able to put a move on Malacelli early on, and then just get my head down and pull away.
With a new race leader on the first lap of green flag racing, the Hankook 24H of Circuit Paul Ricard has now well and truly got underway, as also the 28 Renault RS01 rejoined the track. The track is still wet and very slippery, as Philippe Cellini in the Optimum Ginetta number 231 found out. Fortunately, no real damage, and continues the race. A fierce battle is going on in the A6 AM class.
We had a wet start, so difficult condition. It was really slippery out there, and I wanted to defend my position. We were fighting for a good position, for sure, with actually with another Swiss car, with another Swiss team, and we just made contact. I lost the rear axle, I spun around.
So I spun, and luckily I didn't hit the guardrail, because I was like, that was the end of the guardrail and just missed it. So I could catch the car, and then before another guardrail I could continue on track. So we were a little lucky on that, but I think the car just had a small thing because of that.
In the TCR category, the number 333 Audi of Car Collection started on pole, but now the 216 Modena Seat has taken over the lead.
You know, it was quite grippy, but I mean, this was the first time we actually driven the car in the wet, so we were just getting used to it. But the speed was really good, and it's a bit tricky because the conditions wasn't the best, but it was good fun though.
Although the sky is starting to clear, the track still has its wet spots. And the driver that is having the best race so far is Stuart Hall, who's leading the race.
The car was good. Was just able to pump in lap without, hopefully making too many mistakes, and we're able to put a big gap on them.
Right on his tail, the number 11 Scuderia Praha. Now that the track is drying, the Ferrari is performing better. Team Ultran is still breaking in their new Peugeot 308 and making improvements to make it endurance racing ready.
The car is a brand new car, so we have to fix many things because the car is normally for sprint, so we have to settle different parts, different things, different setup to adapt it on endurance course.
And now it's time to come in for Hankook slick tyres, which will bring the lap times down.
The start was a bit tricky, was very slippery until 20-25 laps. And then the tires, especially front tires, we had problem. We didn't have any grip anymore. So we came in, changed to slicks, and then we could make the best pace in our class. So we were pretty confident then.
And although the track is dry now, the Insight Racing Honda still has a spin.
Yeah, I made a spin the second lap. I was trying to brake into the corner, turning. It was new rear tires, so I make a spin. Hopefully I didn't lose too much.
And there's trouble for the 27 Renault.
Alors j'étais en train de chauffer les pneus et dans le virage le plus lent du circuit,
He started to go out of the box. He was warming the tires, and then at the first curb, a Ginetta came and pushed him very badly.
The team managed to get the car back on track quickly. Rahel Fry in the car collection Audi is racing in the A6 amateur class, right on the tail of the A6 Pro Ferrari of Scuderia Praha.
I made one mistake at the beginning of the race, and then you always want to catch up. You want to do a really good job. You want to catch up the time you have lost. So you're not patient. You're definitely not patient. That's a tricky thing for a race driver to be. And yeah, but it's again a hard lesson to learn, definitely. And no, so far it wasn't really our weekend. It was definitely not our day.
A strong opening to the race for Rofco Racing's Mercedes AMG, leading the A6 class and the overall race. But after the driver change, a technical issue has taken away that lead position.
We have a problem with the front suspension. Nothing is broken, but we have something which we need to investigate. Is all of a sudden the front wheel got detached, front left, so they're changing the part and we're gonna go again. So we have a shame. It's not something that happens very often with those cars. It's nothing that we're trying to think if it was broken, that means we took too much curb or something like this, but nothing is broken. It's just something got detached from the car. So we need to find out a bit more now.
At the 3-hour mark, a code 60. The drivers once again limited to 60 kilometres an hour, which allows the marshals to work safely on track to recover the 31 car. The issue for the Rofco Mercedes has dropped them well away from overall lead. Herbert Motorsport has taken that position with their 911 Porsche, second overall car collection Audi number 32, and third the 17 Mercedes-Benz of IDEC Sport Racing. The SP2 class is being dominated by Porsche 991 Cup cars, with the APO Sport number 80 leading, second the IDEC Sport Racing car 75, and Speed Lover Porsche number 78 is close behind in third. In TCR, Insight Racing's Honda 124 has a 48-second lead. It's a great early showing for the new team, ahead of the veterans of Modena Motorsport second in their 216 Seat, the Audi Car Collection Motorsport in third. The opening exchange is completed at Circuit Paul Ricard, but there are still 21 hours of racing to go. In 1969, the Frenchman Paul-Louis Marius Ricard took on the challenge of building a racetrack near the village of Le Castellet. The facility opened in 1970, and the first major event was the French Formula One Grand Prix the following year, won by Sir Jackie Stewart, on the way to that year's Formula One World Championship. Nowadays, the track is used for all kinds of racing events.
It's definitely a really nice track. It's as well a fast track. It's quite demanding to material. You have some hard-braking corners. You have some mid-fast, fast corners where you have to set up the car really well, where you have to use the aerodynamic of the car. So in fast corner, when you lift, you lose the airflow under the car and the car might get unstable. So this makes the track really, really interesting and competitive in the end.
The atmosphere, everything that's around the track is really nice. It's not like it goes up and down a lot. That's a shame, maybe a little bit, but the track is really nice, you know. And if you make a small mistake, you don't get into the gravel or that sort of thing.
French drivers are rightly proud of the facility.
It's maybe one of the best track in France, you know. It's the biggest one, 5.8 kilometers. A very quick one, safe one, and usually you have sun here.
And from 2018, Circuit Paul Ricard will also welcome back the Formula One French Grand Prix. The number 28 Renault has pushed out of the garage and rejoins the track. Time in the pits is what can lose you the race. But on the other hand, any time your competitors spend in the pits means that you can gain positions.
Actually, I was kind of annoyed. I was reading the pit board and I saw third, then we sat second for a good period of time, and then I went past it was P1. I was like, no, sure, there must be some sort of mistake. I really didn't overtake anybody. The people on the indicator in the pits, Ginetta's strategy where they were stopping way too many times, or more than we were. So as a result, we overtook them in the pit stops realistically. I think pace-wise, I was probably just about a second a lap slower, but ultimately these events are won and lost in the pits, aren't they? And if you minimise your time loss in the pits, then you're always going to come out ahead.
However, the 111 got into difficulties at the start of the 4th hour.
Yeah, when I had on the exit of the chicane on the back straight, I lost. Once I didn't lose power. I lost control of the throttle, so the car was idling at sort of 2,500 RPM. I just didn't have quite enough drive to get up to the hill and recover myself to the pits. So as the flatbed came out and brought me back, it was a throttle sensor, I believe, and they changed the entire throttle bodies and fixed it.
The Eltron 308 has been the sole TCR class Peugeot on the track for a while. The team's sister car is now rejoining after a recurring issue has been fixed by the team.
On this one we have a high pressure captor which is breaking. It's a small electrical component, and we don't know why every half an hour it blinks like a lamp. We have no solution except changing it, and it takes every time 15 to 20 minutes.
Ultram were last year's touring car champion team, so battling this issue is not what they're used to.
For us it's not racing. If half of the time we're in the pit changing the same component, it's not fun. So we'll see. Maybe we will find one harder than others, and it will be practicing for next race. This is motor racing.
The Rofco number 31 Mercedes-Benz, the early overall leader, is also back on track. Chantal Kroll is battling for the lead in the A6 AM class, but smoke behind the number 1 Hofer Mercedes throws a spanner in the works. A left tyre is destroyed and forces her to return slowly at the pit lane to get new rubber. Lionel in the 204 Vortex V8 and Michael Kroll in the number 1 Mercedes come into the chicane at the same time, and it's the Vortex car that spins. Both cars continue their race. These kinds of incidents are relatively rare in the 24-hour series. Most are enjoying their stints immensely.
It was a lot of fun. I had a great little battle with the Seat, managed to take the lead again, and I really enjoyed the move on him. Close racing, fair racing. There was no, you could trust the people around you, and that's one of the really good things again with Creventic, that the driving standards are very high, I think, and there's a lot of respect for everybody on track.
Coming off the Mistral Straight, a major incident for Adrian Barwick in the Optimum Motorsport Ginetta. They'd had a collision with the Renault at the start of the race, which resulted in the exhaust touching the bodywork. When Adrian got in for his first stint, he smelled burning, but it was only when the engine sound changed and smoke was in his rearview mirrors he realised the problem had increased. Wisely, he stopped at a marshal's post, but even they couldn't prevent the car being engulfed in flames. With smoke and fire in the cockpit, Adrian couldn't see how to unhook the safety neck and took longer than he wanted to get out of the car. As a result, he suffered burns to his right leg, which were treated at the track. The Ginetta G55's damage, however, was far more severe. As nightfall approaches, problems for the 33 Audi. Dirk Parhofer has just got in the car for his first stint, but the car collection Audi is buried into the barrier. The damage was too severe to get the car back into the race. It's dark on the circuit, a new experience for Martin Kodrich. What did he expect?
Really, expectation was to learn as much as possible about the 24-hour experience. I never did this before. This was a great chance to learn everything. I'm doing this 24-hour Spa as well, so that was the main goal. But obviously, it would be great to climb the podium with the guys.
9:30 in the evening, time to look at the standings after 7 hours of racing. Herbeth Motorsport number 911 now has a lap lead over Scuderia Praha number 11 Ferrari in second. Third overall, the 32 of Car Collection Motorsport. They're only 49 seconds behind second position, but they have a 2-lap lead over the rest of the field. In the SP3 GT4 class, the number 111 of Track Club leading. The number 240 FARC Autotech Porsche has had technical difficulties but is still in second, ahead of Optimum Motorsport 231 that up to that fire only completed 98 laps. In the 991 class is the Pro Sport Performance Porsche number 85. The SP2 class Porsches are 4 laps further back, but in fairness, these classes have different balances of performance. Throughout the whole 24 hours, day and night, refuelling goes on in a separate station at the start of the pit lane.
We will have 2 ideas about refueling. We want to make it safe and we want to make it easy for teams. safety comes first, easiness second. So to make it safer, we decided to move it out of the pit lane into a separate spot that's only accessible in fireproof clothing. And the second thing is easiness. Behind me you can see the pumps that are prepared by our partner Food Installations in the Netherlands. We have a very unique system that is used nowhere else in racing. It's usually used in trucking and adjusted for racing. The maximum refueling amount during green phases and code 60 phases are locked on a tag which teams hold in front of the pump, and digitally it is checked, and this is made possible by our partner as well as their service provider Meridale.
It looks more or less like your normal supermarket petrol station, but there are distinct differences.
What's different than traditional gas stations, we're having a truck here that's directly connected to the hoses. Instead of having an underground tank. The pumps, they can both work with external tanks, underground tanks, and trucks, just as in this situation.
This bespoke solution was provided by the partners of the organisers Creventic.
We were first using a different system, a very analog system that's more common, more similar to a system used in traditional gas stations. And then at one point we wanted to develop something that's custom-made for racing. So we got a tailor-made option offered by Food Installations. And together we made it work in a way that it would be optimal to be used in our series.
And Food supplies support to the series too.
Every race we have a mechanic from Food Installations present at our races in case of unforeseen calamities. The pumps are very reliable, we usually do not have problems, but in case something goes wrong, there's always someone on spot who can fix problems.
On track, the race is still in its early stages. 7 hours down, 17 hours to go. But it's all over for Alex Osborne and the number 80 APO Porsche. The car off track and hit the barrier. Alex is okay, but the car is just too damaged to continue. The result in code 60 has given the other teams a chance to take a quick pit stop or just get extra fuel to extend their stint.
We did like a 2-hour stint almost, because it was like code 60. So we filled up the car extra, but we didn't change the tires. So I did almost 2 hours on the tires, and actually at the end it was still really good. So a really good stint, I think.
The vast majority of the field is still running on the track, but the Porsche Cayman GT4 Club Sport of Swiss team FAC Autotech is in the pit garage with a problem that they can't pinpoint.
In the car we first started as we wouldn't have enough fuel, but we saw we had enough fuel, and then we couldn't change gears. And the last time I was out, it said gearbox too hot, but it was not. It's obviously a software problem. We called one of the developer of the car in Germany and explained what it is. We didn't find. We changed some pieces, but we didn't find the problem yet. So maybe we make a software update. I don't know yet.
The Danish Honda Civic number 124 has had issues, and those are clearly not all solved either.
We saw early in the stint that the temperature of the car kept climbing and falling, climbing and falling. So we came into the pits thinking we could try to throw some water in it and see if it was because it was lacking water in the coolant system. And it worked kind of fine for 5, 6, 7 laps. I could feel that it was trying to be steady in the temperature. Well, I called over the radio and I said the temperature is climbing again, and within 5 laps, boom. The scenario identifies that it's a head gasket, but it is definitely something that we can't fix here. It's something we have to go down to home to the shop and obviously analyze what actually have happened.
The team did have a spare engine in the truck, but as oil had crept into the cooling system, it was impossible to get the car back out quickly enough. The 111 Lotus leads the SP3 GT4 class, the track club drivers having to bear in mind the cars they want to overtake, and as there are also faster classes out there, the cars that want to overtake them.
The rule is a slower car, you stick to your line, and with the exception of the Ferrari, everybody lets you stick to your line. They pass safely, they flash, they're coming down the inside. Everybody's like really respectful. It's very good.
It seems all the cars in SP3 GT4 have been coping with technical difficulties, and the Lotus Evora of Track Club is no exception.
We have some slight problems with the throttle because we had to recalibrate it. So low down we've got no throttle control, which makes the pit stops and the code 6 is quite hairy. But on the track it's good. Everything was going really, really well.
It's after midnight, but activity in the pit lane continues. There seems to be always one or more cars that needs a service, a new set of Hankook tyres, or a driver change. Jamie Campbell-Walter about to get behind the wheel of the 31 Rofco Mercedes. The car is still fighting back after their early technical difficulties, which puts extra pressure on the driver.
Well, we came here to win the race, but obviously we had some problems with the front left suspension, and yeah, now we're fighting back.
The number 911 is still leading, a lap down now the number 11 Ferrari, and both cars go for the same piece of track.
Eddie Cheever stayed behind me on the. I mean, he was too fast. He have made a collision to me in the car 5. He wanted to overtake me. I have new tires. He couldn't brake enough on the, so we have an accident together. I turned around, but nothing has happened. Yeah, but you get the penalty, 15 seconds.
The 111 Lotus is having an eventful race. Technical issues, their Achilles heel now.
So we had a regulation pit stop, driver change, and the guys, we had a small oil leak, and the engineers were just sort of gave the car once over, a check over. I went out, did an outer lap, and came straight back in, and they took the rocker cover off and tried to fix the oil leak. I went out on a second time for another outer, just an outer lap and in, and on the Mistral straight, so they all loss of power, loads of smoke, loads of oil smoke, and then back clearly the car was misfiring. I got it back around the circuit, came in here, and there was oil pouring out of the exhaust pipe, and clearly a really terminal problem. So I used either a piston or a piston ring, but it's, you know, unfortunately game over.
One team who did replace their engine is the 58 Mark Focus in Smurf livery.
Okay, unfortunately we've broken an engine, and we swapped the engine because our boss is the meaning of our boss is never give up. So we must make everything possible to be at the end.
3.5 hours for the engine change.
We can maybe do it a bit quicker, but we wanted to do it properly instead of doing it quick.
The A6 AM class leader in the garage.
Get crashed with a Porsche, so I want to overtake him, and he go in the corner, and so was is broken? The steering wagon is broken, so we have 50 minutes time to make it right, and so Hofer catch us.
The number 204 has spent the last hour in the pits.
Well, basically it's a race incident. He was stuck in traffic between two Porsches, exited wide trying to avoid one, and he went on one of those very big curbs that's around here with those rigid posts on top of it. So he hit very hard and broke a damper and the front splitter. So nice, getting nearly fixed, and we send the other driver out, and everything should be fine now.
The Vortex now back on track with the majority of the starters. Let's take a look at the standings. Mid-race in the Herberth Motorsport, Porsche number 911 has a 2-lap lead over the car collection number 32 Audi. They also sport a 2-lap gap between third position, the Scuderia Praha Ferrari number 11. Just a single entry to Cup 1 class this weekend. The Duo Racing BMW from Luxembourg holds a midfield position. The A6 AM class lead now in the hands of the Hofer Racing number 1. They've got a good gap back to the 34 car collection Audi in second, whilst the GP Extreme Renault RS01 is third in class. So those are the positions, with still half of the Hankook 24 Hours of Paul Ricard still to go. We've all been frustrated by losing our personal cars for days, going back to the dealership to fix an issue or repair damage. So how is it that the engineers trackside can complete complex repairs in such a short time compared to your local garage?
Does it look like to be a normal garage? I don't believe so. It's a racing team, so everything is quick.
Yeah, and probably cheaper.
But these guys are very good professionals. All the mechanics that are here in the pit lane in the series, these are guys that excel at what they do. They practice together, and they're able to do these things very well with all the parts already pre-staged and ready and planned. Also with engineering help from our engineer.
Even away from the track, the mechanics make the impossible possible. When Modena crashed their car at Silverstone, a frantic search for a race-ready replacement was started to get the team back on track.
Well, I mean, here we have to say thanks to the team. I mean, they did a brilliant job. We were actually thinking it may be better to buy a new car, but we couldn't even find one even if we wanted to do that. So they found a shell. And again, as you know, we're based in Asia, based in Hong Kong, so the team had to fly back and forth and get the car all prepared. But it looks like new. It's running like clockwork. It's a very, very quick car. So I've got to say, hats off to the whole team. It's fantastic.
So what's the secret of assembling such a dedicated engineering team?
I think there are a lot of guys that seem to work well under pressure, and I think what you find is that often there are guys that work in local garages and they're just running to a schedule and everything's in a portion time, but it takes a certain kind of individual to work in the pits, and the technique and the skill is just how fast the guys can get stuck in and know what to do and what order to do it in when they're under pressure.
We've reached the halfway mark of the Hankook 24 hours of the circuit Paul Ricard. We've seen quite an exciting first half of the race so far. For the second half, we can expect good weather, fortunately. What we can expect is a tight battle between especially the top 3 cars right now, but also within the TCR class and the SP2 class. The final word hasn't been said.
A common feature throughout the day and night is tyre and driver changes. Drivers return to the pit lane after every stint, and preferably they park in front of their own team.
We did have a little problem at night last night. I looked down to turn a light switch off. When I looked up, I thought I was going past my pit box, so I dove in real quickly into the Mercedes box. I think they surprised me, but I told my team if they gave me tires, I'd have just kept on going.
A little mistake cost the Pro Sport a couple of seconds. The 58 of VDS, meanwhile, trying to catch up the 3 hours that they spent in the garage earlier.
We are P5 in class, and our hopes are to be P1 at the end of the race. Yeah, we must be optimistic. Yeah. That's the whole mind of the team, being optimistic and winning races.
Making up time works better if you don't spin. The number 17 of IDEC Sport Racing is out of the race. They were running 4th overall, but the chassis of the Mercedes-Benz broke without having any accident.
It's my first time with this problem. I don't know what is happened. I think we have a good feeling with this car, and I like this track, and I think I have make a good job, I think.
The Vortex 204 is having a troubled race, back into the pits for another repair. Martin Kodrich's alarm clock has rung. He's suited up and will start his overnight stint at 3 in the morning.
It has been a long, sometimes boring, but awesome event. It's really nice, when you wake up at 3 o'clock and you go drive the car, you think you're tired of this, but you're not really, because you have so much adrenaline and everything that you just want to get on the track, and I found it really good.
On the first lap out of the pits on his night stint, Nicholas Schmidt has a spin, and then things went from bad to worse. The Duo Racing BMW back in the garage for a half an hour's worth of repairs. The 31 cars race is not going smoothly and has to have the mechanics attend it on a regular basis. Axel Jeffries is a new competitor in the 24-hour series powered by Hankook. The driver from Zimbabwe worried about tyre degradation.
It's tricky, especially when your engineers on the radio say you need to carry on, and you also have to carry on pushing. It's not like you can slow down. So to find a balance of what's safe and fast is quite difficult. But after 8 hours of driving, you know the track so well, you know where every bump is, you know where you can make mistakes, so you know where to take risks and where not to take risks.
Axel's doing a fine job, currently running 4th overall.
To be honest, the first three were really, really strong, especially our night stints. We made up so much time. I think in the first stint we took the car in 25th, came back in 8th. Then the second stint we made up a few more places, and then the third stint we were back up to 4th.
Daylight is returning slowly to the south of France, but being able to see the track better doesn't cut down on the incidents. Mirage Alexander David crashes the car into the barrier, clear to the team that it can't be repaired here at the track, so their race at Circuit Paul Ricard is over. Racing can sometimes seem like a beautiful dance, and Herbeth Motorsport are getting all the twists and turns right. They're leading the race. Vortex missing their step, sliding across the dance floor, and more damage to the 204 car is not able to be fixed by the team.
The 204 have a too little crash, and we don't have enough spare part to repair at the second crash because it's a new car and we don't have a lot of spare parts for the moment.
It's a bad hour for the Vortex team as the 203 sister car has to bow out of the race too.
At the middle of the race, a little mistake of one driver with the clutch. We have to change the clutch, but the engine was failure, and we decided to stop the car this morning because the engine was will broken.
Attrition overnight means fewer teams still in the race by morning. 6 hours before the end of the race, here's the standings. 3/4 of the race now completed, and the Herbeth Motorsport Porsche 991 GT3R doesn't want to let go of that top spot. The lead now 3 laps ahead of Car Collection Motorsport's Audi number 32. The number 11 Scuderia Praha still in 3rd. Further down the order in A6, 4th position belongs to the 28 of GP Extreme. The early leaders, Rofco Racing, still battling back, hold 5th position, and 6th place belongs to the number 24 SPS Automotive Performance team. In SP2, the leader, the number 65 Porsche Lorient team, have a whole lap in hand over 2nd, the IDEC number 75, who have a 54-second advantage over 3rd, the Speed Lover number 78. In the 24-hour series powered by Hankook, you'll normally find that the driving lineups for the year are more or less settled. But there are some drivers who have been switching from team to team during the year.
Well, the team needed another driver. It was decided just before the start of the weekend. They needed one more driver, and I was really happy to join them. And I'm really grateful for the team to give me this opportunity.
This season, Rick has already competed for 3 teams. That's helped to expand his knowledge of different cars and team tactics. Scuderia Praha have also welcomed a new driver to their lineup this weekend.
Yes, we have a new co-driver, that Eddie Cheever. He's a young driver, a good driver, and for the moment we are really good together, and we see.
They were actually friends with my older brother. He used to coach them and race with them as well, and it was just a connection through there really. So yeah.
Down through the years, there have been many teams who've come to just have a try of endurance racing, and then they've got hooked. One of the new teams here is Insight Racing Denmark, owned by the 16-year-old Marcus Peverud.
I've done a lot of racing in Denmark, so we decided to go up a step, and to get most possible driving, we went for the 24 races, the 24-hour races.
Sadly, their race distance was just 7 hours, a broken engine spoiling their fun. But regardless of the final result, most of the drivers walk away having experienced a great racing weekend.
That was my first 24-hour, so it's been quite exciting, very challenging as well. So much to take in, you know, coming from sprint races, it's, I mean, I have a teammate in the sprint races, but it's still very much focused just on the drivers. But the 24-hour race is so much more than that, you know, the mechanics, without them, we wouldn't have even started the race, you know, they put so much work before the race. Engineers, the strategists, everyone in the team, you know, it's a real team effort to see through, and I'm so happy to nearly be there.
6 hours racing still to go, and the TCR class leader has problems. There's an oil leak from the right-hand side drive shaft. The Modena Seat with an 8-lap lead, but if they'd needed a drive shaft change, that would have gone. Fortunately, the drive shaft had just come loose, and so after the engineer had tightened everything back up, the Modena car was back on track without losing its lead position in class. The speed lover number 78 car leads the SP2 class, but they're aware that a lot could still happen.
We are first in class, but everything was very close with Barcelona and the other Porsche. So it's always been very close. We have still some hours in the race, so we'll see. It's a bit too early to say, but we hope for the best, of course.
At the front of the field, the overall lead still in the hands of Herbert Motorsport Porsche. That's a lead that's been increasing stint by stint. Another class leader, the 85 Pro Sport Performance team. Originally, they weren't the only 991 class entrant, but APO Sport moved to the SP2 class for a little more competition. Pro Sport decided to stay in the 991 class and take the championship points.
We're in the championship run for the 991 class, so we decided to stay in the class. And I don't know how all the politics work of moving the class and how the points work, but the team decided to stay in our class that we started the season with, and we want to finish. Hopefully, in the future races there'll be more 991s back.
A Porsche that is always an SP2 class contender is the number 78 from the Speed Lover team. Jesus Diaz has a fire, but doesn't go for help to the pit lane and continues totally unaware of the issue.
No, I don't have fire in my guys. Now we are in podium position. When I leave the car this night at 5 o'clock, I was 10 and first in the class, but some problems. One car touched in the rear in our Porsche, and we lose 2 laps.
Over the start-finish line, it seems something has blown from the car, and at the first corner, the fire is extinguished, leaving the driver none the wiser. David Drinkwater was quite aware of his reasons to come back to the pits, as his co-driver explains.
Very unusual, just the alternator burnt out, literally burnt out. Car was new in January in Dubai, so it's done maybe 40 hours. But unfortunately, these things happen.
The alternator belt is on the floor and the mechanics are trying to fix the car quickly, but they've been hindered by circumstances.
To repair it was about 5 minutes. To actually let the thing cool down so that anyone could touch it was about 20. Biggest problem being that the heat generated when the electrical insides literally burnt. So we were having to pour water on it to try and get the casting to cool down before we could touch it.
The number 108 Audi did rejoin the field a little later on and joined the battles out there. Just 3 hours to go, so let's take another look at the standings. At the top of the standings, the number 911 Herbert Motorsport Porsche has what appears to be a comfortable 5-lap lead, but just one small technical issue could take that lead away. So there's hope still for second place car collection number 32, and even the Scuderia Praha Ferrari number 11 in third has a chance of the overall victory. The Modena number 216 Seat, currently leading the TCR class, has a 5-lap lead back to the car collection Audi 333 in second, and it's another 5 laps back to third, CAD Speed number 108. In SP3 GT4, the Track Club 111 Lotus, the 240 FAC Porsche in second, which did come back to the track a little while ago. Third in class, the 231 Optimum Motorsport Ginetta. 180 minutes of racing still to go. Will there be any dramas for our leaders? BRM chronographs are a 24-hour series sponsor, but they're not just there for the exposure. Performance, endurance, technology and the whole motorsport ethos is embedded in the company.
Motorsports, it's something where every minute something can happen. So even on a very long race, you have the pit in, pit out, you have the fight on the racetrack, so you have always something with happening.
When a company is so immersed in motorsport, it influences every product they make.
So yes, the common things with the race and BRM, first, when you prepare a race car, it's a lot of precision, and it's the same for a watch. Every piece, everything needs to be absolutely perfect. Like in motorsports, we improve all the materials, we improve the mechanic of the watch to make it very light. And it's just to make a watch very comfortable, because when you have a very light watch, it's very comfortable. And that's also a common philosophy with racing, because you always try to have the lightest car, and we try to have the lightest watch. So it's also one of the common philosophy.
The Hankook 24 Hours of Circuit Paul Ricard still has 3 hours or more than a sprint race to go. But for the teams of this Creventic series, they know they're getting towards the checkered flag.
We're still P3, and I think we can hold P3 quite comfortably. We didn't get any testing in, so we were kind of down for qualifying. Then as the race started, we realised that we had good pace, and then gradually it's been coming to us. We didn't have the speed in the pit stop, but we knew that we had the pace on circuit.
Pit stops are still important. Just as much time can be won in the pits as on the track.
Yeah, we are really fast on the track. Not so fast on the driver change. We need to work, and also we get a lot of penalty, so we lose more than 2 minutes in penalties, and we had a problem in the night with the number plate. But anyway, you know, that's racing.
That was Charles Espenlaub just finishing his last stint. And if you can look around, we're serving a penalty right now for a long stint we ran earlier. But Charles just finished, Joe Foster got in.
The number 240 FAC Autotech Porsche rejoined the race earlier this morning after a software update was sent through.
The car works very well. We have wonderful times, laps, but then after more than 1 hour, the engine go out. The same problem as yesterday. We try and try and try. We will finish the line.
After another hour in the garage, true to their word, they did see the checkered flag. When you've built up a big gap to your competitors, you've got time to sort things out.
Well, we obviously had some suspension issues throughout the race, so we've got to the last couple of hours, and there's quite a big gap to the car in front and a big gap to the car behind. So we're in P8. So we're using the last couple of hours just to do some testing. We're trying some different stuff on the cars setup-wise, just to see if we can improve a few things. So that's the main reason.
For the Herbeth team, it's been close to a flawless race. They've led a total of 560 laps, the last 482 consecutively. And with a 3-lap gap to car collection number 32 in second, it's the Porsche number 911 who is first to take the checkered flag. Changeable weather making things exciting at the start, but the sun coming through during the first couple of hours.
It was a bit warm, but it was quite fun actually. We double into the tires, so I hadn't done that yet during the race, so it was a bit tricky. The brakes were starting to go a bit towards the end because we didn't change pads or discs, so we knew we were going to try to just be constant and be survival of the fittest, which we did, and brought it home in second position.
There was interest all the way to the end, especially between the 11 Ferrari and the 32 Audi. Either one of those cars could have taken second position.
Well, I knew when we came in to do the splash and dash at the end, I wasn't sure how close it was going to be. And that's kind of the reason why we kept the tires on the car, because we knew that would save us about 30 seconds. And with only 15 or 20 minutes left, I felt like I could hold them off, because the car was really hooked up even on old tires. So, yeah. They were definitely putting pressure on us, but we kept our composure and brought home the second position.
Well, not really easy. All the others what I made were a little bit faster, and as the temperature came a little bit higher, I think I was sliding around quite a lot. But in the end, in let's say a half distance of the stint, we knew that we cannot really catch the Audi on a second place. So we just dropped the pace a little bit lower, and I was more cautious and just driving around the curbs and saving the engine, just make sure that we bring it home.
We've seen an exciting day today, luckily with less cars needing to retire than in the first half of the race. Especially in the overall lead, it stayed the same as it was after 12 hours. But what you can see is that a good pit stop strategy, mixed with staying out of trouble in generally, can make you win a 24-hour race. And that is the exciting part about lasting 24 hours.
Ferrari 11 and Porsche 911 next to each other under the podium. They were even closer together during the night, remember.
Unfortunately, Eddie crashed to the winner of the race. And yeah, we got a little bit damage on the car, but that didn't really cost us much time. A little bit on the aerodynamics, but more were a little bit, let's say, silly mistakes. For example, the number what we lost and we had to repair it, which took us basically 3 laps.
But that's all water under the bridge now.
As the race was still over, I saw the Ferrari coming over and he was waving, and I think we should be friends.
No, we have to be happy. We ran a really great race. We had a few mistakes here and there, which gave up some ground to the Porsche guys. They performed really well. Congratulations to them, and we'll have to come back next year and try to get to the win.
Well, you never can be sure. The race is over after 24 hours, so I did it very calm to get the car through the last 30 minutes.
Another consistent and flawless outing from the 911 Porsche of Herbeth Motorsport means they take home another first overall trophy from the 24-hour series. The Audi number 32 from Car Collection Motorsport in second, 3 laps back, and a lap ahead of third place, the number 11 Ferrari of Scuderia Praha. The top 5 overall, all different brands of car. Number 911 of Herbeth Motorsport taking the class in A6 Pro, in A6 Am. Top step of the podium for the number 1 Mercedes from Ahofa Racing. Pro Sport get full championship points in the 991 class. The Lotus Evora number 111 of Track Club takes the SP3 GT4 honours. A close race-long battle in the SP2 class saw the Porsche Laureate number 65 team win by just 28 seconds. The Hong Kong-based Modena Motorsport team and their 216 Seat won the TCR class. And the 235 of Duo Racing has the Cup 1 class trophy. Thanks for joining us for the Hankook 24 Hours of Circuit Paul Ricard, the 4th round of the FIA International Endurance Series organised by Creventic. We'll be back here on the 18th and 19th of August for the Proto Series powered by Hankook and the 12 Hours of Circuit Paul Ricard. Next up for the 24-hour series, we're off to Imola. But for more information, get to the website 24hseries.com. Oh, and by the way, thank you and a big hand to everyone that allowed us to interview them.